Welcome back for a new top 5 list. This time we are checking out, in my perspective, 5 must try experiences on the PS4. So, with that said, number 5 is going to be somewhat controversial. I know it's a third person shooter action game, but I think the flying mechanics is great. Graphically, it looks excellent. It is overall a really fun experience if you go in with a more open mind, which I try to do with games and not listen to people's opinions. With that said, for me, coming at number 5 of ones I recommend checking out, Anthem. This was a game originally I had no intention to ever buy or play, but one year a friend gave me this for as a birthday gift for free. So I was like, it was a gift. I'll give it a shot, and I was pleasantly surprised. Honestly, Anthem gets way too much hate. I get it, because EA being involved in everything in the game, done, of course, by the once upon a time highly respected BioWare. Best well known for a lot of people, Dragon Age. For me, I always think of BioWare for games like Jade Empire as well as Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. But with that said, I do highly recommend checking out this game. Specifically, I recommend using this suit, as it gives you the ability to do flying. I mean, the same as this, but at least you have some better weapons overall. Not quite as good speed, but it is actually really fun. And yeah, my personal favorite is the Ranger of the four classes. But if you get a chance, check it out. I mean, you can get this game dirt cheap. You can find this with the basic DLC, beginning DLC stuff, this version, super cheap, easily under $20 still. So, I mean, I recommend giving it a shot before the servers actually shut down. It is a fun, great action game experience in Ranger. The fact it gives you sort of an Iron Man experience, which you never really got, unfortunately, in a game. Next up, I have to recommend highly, if you're looking for a good first person shooter experience, but at a very reasonable price range, then I highly recommend checking out Killzone Shadowfall. It's kind of crazy the fact it was a launch title released back in like 2013, and yet it still looks better than a lot of games today, which is blows my mind. Keep in mind you can find this dirt cheap. I personally picked this up a few years back for like $5 at GameStop, so definitely check it out. You could still get probably under $10. Not too much of a problem there. So it's very affordable, very economic, and you do get a good, I think, solid experience. And yeah, if you want online, you can play up to like 24 people online. Personally, I like the game. The fact it actually has a pretty good length single player, and that's the biggest thing for me. Is always single player, not multiplayer. Never was my thing. Outside of the first Titanfall game, which is a legit great online experience. But Killzone Shadowfall, in my opinion, is a nothing but an excellent game, especially for people like me who like single player campaigns more than multiplayer. This is one of those experiences. Next up, we have, I think, one of the most refreshing and great modern platformers from Bandai Namco, or Namco Bandai, Little Nightmares, which honestly the game feels like it literally popped out of a Tim Burton film, or it feels like Tim Burton did the game, especially with the art direction, as it is heavily designed to look like stop motion animation from a Tim Burton film. The atmosphere very much has a Tim Burton esque feel to it. I would say even some of the music feels like maybe a bit of like a homage to Danny Elfman. Overall, you can tell a lot of the people that worked on Little Nightmares 1 and 2 definitely were, I would say, fans of Tim Burton as well as stop motion animation, which I think is criminally underrated art style. But if you get a chance, definitely check out Little Nightmares. Heck, check out Little Nightmares 2 as well. Coming in the next up, second to last, I think the game needs no introduction. Bloodborne. When it comes to looking for a reason to play PS4, I would say Bloodborne is one of the definitive reasons. The fact it still remains exclusive to this day. And the story is a massive world. If you play just a single player story, you could probably beat in about anywhere from about 45 to 60 hour range. But if you want to play also all the added additional expansion stuff, plus the fact there is DLC as well you can add, you could easily soak in well over 100 hours, maybe even 200 hours, just because, like in many Dark Souls style games, it is a very long, but I love the gothic architecture and look, very Lovecraftian influenced to it as well, between the creature designs and the overall just look. As somebody who is a big fan of the Dark Ages, from an artistic point of view as well as other elements, of course you can also tell certain elements they've taken from also stuff like the Black Plague, which does make sense given the whole vibe they're going with. And the fact you can do up to 3 players and stuff like that. If you want, that's one thing it has, a network players thing you can use. Plus you can also do remote play with the Vita as well, which is kind of cool. But with that said, yeah, if you see, this copy is sealed because years back, through monthly PS Plus games, I got a digital copy, so I decided to keep this physical version sealed as it's starting to go up. But with that said, if you get a chance, definitely give Bloodborne a shot. If you're curious to see about a lot of gameplay from the game by somebody who has a lot more experience with the game than myself, as I've only done one playthrough, and this individual has done at least 5 or 6 playthroughs, that being Maximilian Dude. One of recommendations I consider a must play 3D fighting experience or fighting experience in general, Soul Calibur 6. Easily, I recommend the most. Don't get me wrong, I like Tekken 7 quite a bit, but I just like Soul Calibur 6 a lot more than Tekken. Plus, not to mention, heck, I would also highly recommend a 3D fighters. I would definitely recommend checking out Dead or Alive 5 Last Round or Dead or Alive 6. As from a mechanic perspective, it is great, but I will say I like a lot of the new mechanics and introductions into Soul Calibur 6. Plus, of course, you have the additional fun thing that is the character creation mode. So you can customize normal already characters in the game or create new characters. I've done in the past some really interesting create characters. You can easily soak hours just into customizing, and with the DLC, you get additional added stuff for character creation as well, which is one of the great things. But no, seriously, if you get a chance, definitely check out Soul Calibur 6. It has an actual, about an hour long story mode, plus it has another side story thing you use just for a created character, and it's also a great introduction to the character in this game as well, which is a very unique character to say the least. But with that said, I'll see you all next time. Stay safe out there. Music in the background is Witchwood from Fable 1. See you again soon.